on.
Welcome to Coyote Billboard. I'm Melissa Weinstein, an instructor in the Department of Communication, and I'm joined today by the student cast members of the upcoming fine arts production of Suburbia, and I'm also joined by Jenny Walton, who is the assistant director for the show. I'm joined today by Lizzy Morse, Jocelyn Matayana, and Kelly Williams. So Jenny, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about Suburbia. What is it about? Where does it take place? Give us a little bit about the story.
Well, Suburbia takes place in, I want to say, New Jersey, in front of a convenience store called Quickies. Basically, it's a group of 20-something-year-olds, early 20s, and they're all kind of just hanging around, waiting around for one of their previous friends from high school called Pony, who became a rock star. And the whole thing happens with the shop workers and the whole fiasco.
Tell us a little bit about the trouble about the fiasco and the shop workers.
Well, basically, one of our characters named Tim gets into a really big altercation with the shop owner, Nazir. And they end up getting into like kind of a gunfight situation. They both pull on each other, and turns out one of their friends end up dying.
Now, this play is set in the 1990s, so that's a time before a lot of students at CSN were even born. But how do you think this story relates to us now, even though it's taking place like about 30 years ago? How is it still an important and relatable story?
I really feel like it follows a lot of our the things that are happening in the media currently, especially the stuff that's happening overseas in Palestine, because it's a lot of there's a lot of racial tension that happens between a lot of our characters.
Tell me a little bit about some of the tension between the characters.
Basically, the characters' names are Buff, Jeff, Tim, Pony, BB, Erica, and Suze. All of them are completely against Tim's ideology because Tim has a very racist underline. Because a lot of the times towards Nazir, he doesn't like him. It's flat out. He does not like him. But everybody's like, no, he's a person still. We have to care about him. And he's like, no. I feel like that's kind of where a lot of the stuff that relates to our time now, dealing with a lot of racial issues.
And we have several of the student actors joining us today. I'd like to start with you, Lizzy. I understand you're playing BB.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your character.
So BB is a sort of grunge goth girl, and she just recently got out of rehab and is a nurse's aide, and she's just trying to get her life together. But, throughout this whole play, when Pony comes, he's sort of this catalyst to sort of her own, downfall. She is very complex. She's also kind of a loner, quiet. Usually that's how, the grunge goth character is. They're the outcast. And I guess that pretty much sums her up,
What do you like best about this character? What are some of their good qualities, would you say?
There is one scene I love, and it's a scene where I dance, and I dance to Big Mouth Strikes Again by the Smiths. And we don't really get to see, like at the very beginning, BB is just kind of there, but she's very interesting looking. And I guess I love that in this moment alone where she's dancing, it's like we're seeing a different side of her that's fun and sort of a bubbly in a way, which is kind of ironic because of the way she looks. And I really like that she has this sort of contemporary artistic movement about her.
Is there anything challenging about playing this particular character? I know sometimes if a character is similar to the actor or if there are major differences, sometimes you have to kind of make some concessions. Is there anything challenging about her character for you?
Yeah. So BB is somebody who's an addict, and you know, it does hit close home to me, not because I've been through it, because I know family members who have been through addiction and through that whole process of being, you know, in rehab and an outpatient. And just unfortunately, in recent events, I have, you know, experienced loss of those said things from a different family member. So it's definitely challenging to take on these topics because, you know, when it hits so close to home to you, you know, you're playing somebody that you know, kind of, and you're probably going to play a person that a lot of other people know. And I think that's what's the most challenging part, is that she is in a lot of other people that are very close to our heart. So I think that's what's challenging, is trying to handle her with care, because she's a delicate character.
I like what you say about her being delicate and handling her with care. And I know that a lot of the time actors will say that they really have to get into the head of the person to understand who they are.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've been able to draw on, unfortunately, some experience. Talk to us a little bit about, for you, how your process of character development. You get this part? How do you go about doing it?
Yeah. You know, I'm a music lover, and a lot of us, not just myself, my other castmates, they've made playlists on Spotify or whatever, you know, music app they have. Music has really helped me get into the feeling of BB. You know, just constantly. I mean, I already listened to the music that she likes. I love The Cure and The Smiths and, you know, Marcy's Playground and especially stuff set in the 90s. I also did some research on, you know, addicts and relapsing and why it happens and what triggers people. And I try to, you know, implement that in my character and why she's making these choices that she's going to make. And I think that's what really helps me develop her as a person, you know, so she's, you know, relatable.
It sounds like you've been able to draw on experience as well as the research that I know is oftentimes a big part of creating the character the way that you see it. So we'll come back to you in just a couple of minutes because I want to talk a little bit about Pony in just a couple of moments. Jocelyn, let's move on to you. Now, I understand you're playing Erica. Tell us a little bit about her.
So I would say Erica is definitely one of the more mature characters in the play, simply because of her role connected to Pony. She is his publicist, and she has a very professional outlook on things, but she's also a very sensual character, and she embraces that, and she knows what she wants, so she goes after it. And she's very sarcastic and witty, and she just has a really good relationship with Pony, and that's basically how she goes about the play for her movements from then on forward.
Now you mentioned sarcasm and wittiness, which are two very distinct characteristics. Can you give us an example of her wittiness or her sarcastic nature?
Yeah, so basically there's one point in the play where one of the characters is having a pretty difficult time because of some actions that have happened before